All right, welcome back, lookers. As always, your boy Yo Soy ACWeezy, the man. Goddamn T. We pushed it back an hour, and we're still a little bit late, so we apologize for that. As I was telling Tyler beforehand, I got caught up at work a little bit, and then I tried to make up a new word. Tyler, I don't know if he was a fan or not. I said I got cathetered by rush hour traffic, and Tyler notified me that catheter is not a verb to be conjunctioned into with the ed, but catheter. You get the picture. Anyways, T, how we feeling? Okay, cause some hey. Well, I was self-employed for a little bit there, working on my entrepreneurialships. But yeah, back on that grind. Can't really say 9 to 5. It's 11 to 5 right now. But anyways, yeah, no, having fun. I did sign a non-disclosure agreement, so can't really talk about much pertaining to work. But yes, it is good to be back. Yes. Oh, for sure, for sure. It's always going to be the number one spot, first and foremost. This is what we do, T. We talk about stuff and we have fun with it. Yep. Oh, you came up with an official, what, 10, 12 man roster? Well, golly. Hey, golf clap, my guy. I am impressed. I like it. Wow. Whoa, whoa. Is that a shade? You throwing shade at Shaq saying he should be the coach for that abomination of a team? I like Charles. I was not to ruin your flow. I was gonna say I'd put Jeff Van Gundy in there. Or wait, who's the announcer? Is Jeff? Jeff, yeah, was the old coach. Yeah, yeah. He just seems like a wacky guy would fit right in with that kind of clown organization you're coming up with. But back to you. First man off the. What kind of order is this? Okay. 5,000. Oh wow. I want to say he has cornrows. Probably had cornrows at one time. All right, let me get a reference. Oops. Yep. Yep. I'm with you. I'm with you. Sorry.
Bench number player 8. I got Tristan Thompson. Just lost a libel case against a baby mama or some girl in the picture after just finding out that him and Chloe, or maybe during him and Chloe break. He loses a case in court. My guy plays for the Celtics, early exit in the playoffs. I mean, this guy's not having it. Perfect fit for the Orlando Magic. Bench number 7, I got Marcus Smart. I just hate the guy. I think he's a dirty player, I guess you could say. He thinks he can. He's like an off-brand PJ Tucker. Like, I don't mind him, but like he's just like PJ Tucker in ways that I don't like him.
I don't know if I'd group him in with the Orlando Magic esque squad. I mean, this guy's proven NBA's role player. I guess I'd call him. I wouldn't say star necessarily, but
Well, let's put it this way: first round pick,
and
sixth
he's not even
overall.
starting for your guys.
Not even starting.
Wow.
First round pick, 6th overall. Guy hasn't even made an all-star team. Hasn't even made the all-star weekend. Um, I would say he's highly overrated. He's a great role player, like you said, and therefore he's on my bench. Bench number 6. I have no idea who this guy is, but while curating this list, I found his name, and his name is Jay Scrubb. I think he plays for the Pelicans or something.
His
But
last name is Scrub.
literally picked on the Orlando Magic team
Wow.
solely based on his name. And it's spelled with 2 B's, Austin.
Okay. Yep. I got him right here.
Who's he play for?
Los Angeles Clippers.
Clippers. Well, he's not taking Kawhi's spot anytime soon. But speaking of Clippers, number 5, I have Pat Beverly. I think he's a dirty player. I think he talks too much. I think he talks too much for not being good. And I think he deserves to be on every single team in the NBA. That sucks. So, Orlando Magic, here you come. Enjoy Universal. Enjoy Disney. Number 4, I got. Actually, I'll group 3 and 4 together. I got Markieff Morris and Marcus Morris. I think we need both of them on the same team at once. I want to see technical fouls. I want to see fights. I want to see bashing and bruising. These guys, I mean, really, the only reason why they're on teams is because they're like the guy in hockey that beats everybody up. That brings me
Yeah.
to my coach,
Bruisers.
actually. The Bruisers. That brings me to my coach, actually. I did have a coach in mind. It was Rasheed Wallace, and the reason why I was picking him is because he had the most technical fouls in NBA history, and I think as a coach, he would break the most technical fouls as a coach.
Yeah, that's probably a good guess right there. It's not a bad one, T.
Bench 2, I got Grayson Allen.
Wait. Bench. I thought you said number 5 was Pat Beverly. Or he
Yeah,
was
I
bench
said
number
three.
5.
I said 3 and 4 are going to be grouped together. Marcus and Markeith.
You're still on the bench,
So
though.
I'm still on the bench. Bench
Okay.
2.
Just to
We're working
clarify.
our way up.
Yep.
Next man is 6 man.
Okay.
Bench 2, I got Grayson Allen. Solely based on tripping someone in college, and also he has a very punchable face.
Probably one of the most, if not the most, punchable faces in the NBA. I'll give you that for sure.
Number 6, I got my 6 man making his return to the Orlando Magic, Dwight Howard. My guy looks like a pineapple head. I don't think he scored over 20 points in the past 3 years, and therefore he deserves to go back to Orlando. I'm not sure as 6 man, he was just the first person I thought of.
Mm-hmm.
At my center position, I have DeMarcus Cousins, throwing a lot of shade at DeMarcus because he's with the Clippers right now. I feel like he could be, playing somewhere above his means, but he's trying to chase a ring, and he's failing at it. Obviously, he's been great throughout his career, but also he kind of whines a lot. I'm not a big fan, so I put him on this team. Power forward, I have Kyle Kuzma, arguably probably one of the worst players this season in the NBA. You can ask LeBron, you can ask anybody in the Lakers locker room. Probably thinks he's not that great, airballs a lot, and makes stupid plays. Small forward, I have Kristaps Porzingis.
Oh wow.
uh Pandemic P, playoff P, whatever you want to call him, did not show up this year for his boy Luca. His contract is insane to play that bad, and therefore he deserves to be on the Magic. Shooting guard, Tyler Hero, moving up north a little bit, going from Miami to Orlando. Gonna have to find himself some Cocoa Beach babes instead of some South Beach babes. My guy focused too much on Tinder and not enough on the fundamentals of basketball. So therefore, he's going to Orlando. He's being summoned.
Okay.
He's yeah. And last, but definitely not least, can you guess who at point guard?
I mean, I have a good estimate of where you're going with this. Is he a point guard that does not necessarily shoot the basketball that well?
My point guard for the Orlando Magic in the fourth quarter of the past series in the semifinals in the Eastern Conference. Game 1, 2 for 2. Game 2, 0 for 0. Game 3, 1 for 1. Game 4, 0 for 0. Game 5 through 6 through 7, 0 for 0. Ben Simmons, join the ball in Orlando, my guy. You are trash. I don't care what Austin says about the point plus over, plus minus. I don't give a shit. My guy can't shoot. My guy can't pass. Joel Embiid had to carry the bricks like he was carrying it on his back so he could have you on his team for nothing. You're lousy. You're garbage. You'll be lucky if you make the Orlando Magic team. Pat Beverly's coming for your face. Ben Simmons, my starting point guard, wannabe all-star.
Wow. I mean, you can definitely tell Tyler put a lot of time and thought into that. I mean, my first initial reaction is that could be the first team in NBA history that could have more technical fouls than free throws made in a basketball game.
Yes. Or also most air balls in a game than points actually made. Actually, we'll say attempted shots.
I mean, I feel like with that roster, especially if you have Rasheed Wallace, maybe even Meta World Peace as the coach, might
Ooh.
even get in some fist fights there. You got Boogie, you got the Morris twins that have been known to get in some, semi altercations on the court. But overall, T, I'm impressed with the effort you put into that. And I don't know, I feel like you might have transferred your PJ Tucker hate and kind of channeled it a little bit more directly to Ben Simmons this time around.
Austin, over under, we'll say 10 games. How many games does this team win?
10 games? I'll give them 10. I mean,
All right, fine. Over under
20,
25.
25. Ah, man. I'd have to look at the odds, but if I had to put all my money on it, I'd probably say under.
I would have to agree.
I
Not a
thought,
lot
wait,
of
what
great
happened?
shooters on
I,
the team.
I thought you were saying Kawhi was an Orlando guy as well.
Kawhi's all right. I mean, my guy was playing injured. I like Kawhi. He's a good player. I was
You
just
didn't say
saying
that a
that.
couple weeks ago.
I mean, you can roll the tape back. All I'm saying is there's always a spot in Orlando. You want to make a mishap on the court. You want to play bad. You want to airball. You want to bitch. You want to whine. There's always a spot for you in Orlando at Amway Center.
I don't even know if we could qualify that team as like an NBA team. They might have to be like the transition between G League to a full time NBA roster. It's like you got to go G League to Orlando and then to an actual NBA team.
It's like NBA 2A, like
Yes.
just like NCAA double A, D1. It's D1 2A.
Right.
Like they're not there yet, but you're almost there.
I like it. I like it. All right, you want to get into some more relevant, I'll say, basketball talk?
Sure.
So we've got down to the last four teams, Tyler. Very interesting. No LeBron, no KD, no Steph. You know, not a lot of superstars. I mean, I guess you'd have to say obviously Kawhi, who's hurt. I don't know that they still have. They probably still haven't put an official word out on him. It's looking like he's a no go for the rest of the playoffs. I mean, Giannis is probably the biggest name left. You know, two-time MVP, right?
Yep.
So, but other than that, I mean, it's been interesting for sure. Let's start off with the series that kicked off first, and I mean, hell of a way to kick off. The conference finals, Suns versus Clippers. Suns squeeze out the win, 104-103. I mean, this was back and forth. The Clippers, honestly, they might have had more control throughout most of the game, but the Suns came through in the clutch. No Chris Paul, right? He was dealing with the COVID protocols. Um, I mean, Paul George had a decent outing, 26 points, 1 for 8 from three. That's pretty egregious. 10 for 23 field goals.
I'm
Nothing
pretty
too crazy.
sure I might be thinking of the Hawks series, but I'm pretty sure the three pointers just weren't there for either of the games during the Western Conference.
Yeah. I'm looking. Yeah, no one was above 50%. Pat Bev, your guy, Orlando backup point guard, went 2 for 4. On the Suns, yeah, no one really shot the ball well. My biggest takeaway, Tyler, is how well Cameron Payne has been playing throughout this playoff. I mean, he's had to step up a lot. Chris Paul being hurt, in that first series against the Lakers, he's kind of been dealing with that nagging injury. Obviously, this game he didn't play. Payne steps up as a starting point guard, played 37 minutes, went 12 for 24, shot 50% from the floor, only 2 for 8 from three, 29 points, got his career playoff high. He had the high on the team for the Suns, which is, kind of crazy to think of a
Mm,
guy. Now I'm looking at it right now. Ayton had 24, Booker had 20. So to think of a guy that doesn't even necessarily start,
in the first game,
yeah,
Booker had 40 in the first game.
no.
Yeah, he had a 48 burger and a triple double.
Is this the second game?
That might be the second game. Booker definitely had 20 the second game.
Okay. Maybe I'm looking at the second game then.
Either
Oh yeah,
or,
you're right. So
either or,
I'm looking at the second game. But anyways, I was
either or. I feel
focusing
like
on
you're onto something. And I
yeah.
agree. I think campaign obviously stepping up, and I think this goes to show more towards the leadership that they have with the Suns and Chris Paul. You see Chris Paul on the sidelines, often communicating with his guys. Having a guy like Chris Paul on your team, regardless of how far he's been in the playoffs, regardless of not being to any NBA finals, the guy knows how to make he knows how to show you your potential. He knows how to bring it out of you. Now, campaign, if he was on any other team, I doubt he would be producing as much as he had been. I mean, obviously Devin Booker got hurt. Pat Beverly banged him in the nose like it was a part of a UFC fight, but campaign stepped up. There were times where he was shooting poor shots and ill-advised three-pointers, but I think the biggest thing is he held his own in a time where they just needed him to do a little. They didn't need him to go above and beyond. He did. 29 points is great for him, but they just need him to be consistent with Chris Paul out, and then when Chris Paul comes in, that's when they close the series.
Um yeah, no, you're definitely hitting the nail on the head right there. I mean, honestly, I had been adamant on saying throughout the course of the playoffs, I felt like the Clippers would have had the best chance against the Nets. Obviously, the Nets got bounced. Tyler, sorry to bring that back up. No Kawhi, definitely a different team, definitely a different ball game. Honestly, right now I'm probably rooting for the Suns. I'd love to see CP3 finally get a title. Devin Booker, I think he's, obviously a rising star, making his claim to be put in that upper echelon, that top tier of superstars in the NBA. I had One point I was gonna
See,
say.
I disagree with that. I think Devin Booker going to the conference finals in his first time in the playoffs, I think that should automatically elevate you to being a superstar. Like in the other conference finals, you got Trey Young, superstar. Like these guys are younger than us. They're 24, 25, 23 even. They're in the conference finals leading their team in points, scoring 40, triple doubles, making a difference on the court obviously and really shutting it down. And I
Mhm.
think that should just say you're a superstar. Like Kobe was a superstar when he was 24. LeBron was a superstar when he was that age. KD, you can keep going on and on. I think it's time to really take an initiative
Huge
and
free
say,
throws here from
these
Paul
younger
George.
guys, they're not just stars, they're superstars. They're leading the league into brighter futures.
Yeah. Can I just say, like, I don't know how to feel about that, Tyler, now that, it's been like that for a few
Oh, I
years
know.
now, but a lot of the stars or younger guys in pro sports are younger than us, where it's like we're always like thinking of, oh, pro athletes, they're a lot older, but now they're, a lot more times than not younger than us.
I think for me, it was the 2014 draft. I was like, all right, this is going to be the last draft where all the guys are going to be older than me
Yeah.
because they were one and dones or whatnot. I mean, obviously there's still guys in the league that are coming out that are just a little bit younger than us, but now you got guys that are 19 and 18 and you're like they were born in the 2000s? What?
I know, right? So what do you think? Do you give the Clippers any chance? And also, how much credit to the Suns' success do you give to now the new viral meme, if you want to call it, the Suns and Four guy? I mean,
Well, first off, I'll answer the first question. Clippers, it all depends on Kawhi. Honestly, if Kawhi comes back, I think they win one game, maybe. I think even if he does come back, I'm not even sure they can win a game. You get Chris Paul back, obviously he's going to shake the cobwebs off in the first half, but I just think the Suns team is too difficult. I mean, DeAndre Ayton, he's a beast down low, obviously scoring that game winner off of a beautiful pass from Jay Crowder. Alleviating a lot of the stress, I guess you could say, off of Devin Booker, who has Pat Beverly guarding him. I just think this Clippers team doesn't match up as well as people think to the Suns. I think the Suns are a better scoring team. I think the Suns have more star power. Obviously, if Kawhi Leonard was on the court, it'd be a different story, but he's not. And I don't think playoff P, Paul George, can put up, enough points, be the same guy he was prior to having that torn ACL or destroying his leg or blowing up like he was in Vietnam. But I do give a lot of credit. What was the second question? Sorry.
how much credit do you give the Suns and Four guy?
Suns and Four guy obviously created a
He's literally out
monster.
here throwing fists on behalf of his team. He's out there laying his body on the line.
Well,
He's the mascot that they never asked for.
did you see there was a second fight? The
No,
Suns versus the Clippers, and it was in
not the
Phoenix.
same
And
guy.
no, it wasn't. It
I
was
was
just
gonna say.
it was like a posse of Suns fans versus like 3 or 4 Clippers fans, and the Suns fans just jumped them and beat the shit out of them. The Suns fans aren't messing around, man.
Man, they want blood, I guess. But yeah, I mean, that was.
If I honestly, Austin, if I see that as a Suns player, I'm getting amped. Like
I
I'm
mean,
seeing my fans out there throwing fists like it's a corn concert.
oh, for sure. I mean, if the Suns win this series 4-0 and then they win the NBA Finals 4-0, they got to make some kind of documentary about that guy because he just clearly sparked some kind of fire under the Suns. No pun intended there, but they've just been
I
playing
mean,
phenomenal baskall ever
he's
since
got
that
to write a
happened.
book. He's got to
A
list
tell-all.
everything that he did up into prior that game. All of his loved ones, how he became a Suns fan. I mean, it's just got to. There's got to be an autobiography. There's got to be a 30 for 30. I mean, the Suns going to It's not their first NBA Finals, but I would say it's their first NBA Finals with favorable odds of winning it. I think that's incredible.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely pulling for the Suns. We're talking about young stars in the league. We'll transition over to the eastern side of the NBA playoffs. We got the Eastern Conference Finals. Trey Young, man. I mean, we kind of saw him do his thing against the Knicks, and you had to tip your hat a little bit. But at the same time, it's like, okay, it's the Knicks. They kind of overperformed this year. Randall didn't play that well in that series, so you didn't really know if you could give him credit. But then they come out and they beat the number one seed, right? The 76ers
Yep.
were the number
Yep.
one overall seed. Um, I mean, to there, you got to give them their flowers, right? Because they came out and they proved that they're here. They're a confident team, and they're really riding their stud of Trey Young. Like I was mentioning earlier, I think Giannis is the biggest superstar in this playoffs right now, at least of the accolades to this point in everyone's career. But Trey Young, I mean, if there was like a playoff award, Tyler, you know how they have like NCAA March Madness Most Outstanding Player. I'd say I would definitely give the NBA playoff Most Outstanding Player to Trey Young. This guy, he's out there unconscious. He's doing shoulder shimmies before he's nailing threes in people's eyes. I mean, he's just playing out of his mind. And on top of that, the Hawks, for having as young of a roster that they do, Kevin Herter, John Collins, Clint Capella,
Bogdanovich,
Bogdanovich, they're
the one
really
that plays for the
showing,
Hawks.
yeah, not no relation to the other guy in Utah, but they're really showing composure, poise, and they're playing really good basketball.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I mean, Trey Young, a superstar. Just like I said, Devin Booker, the guy is proving it night in, night out. I mean, he had 48 points last game. 48 points. KD had 49 and everybody was shitting a brick. My guy Trey Young almost dropped a triple double and had 48 points. Um Obviously, I think a lot of it had to do with maybe fatigue a little bit on the Bucks end playing that long overtime game. Um or honestly, Austin, it could be that this Hawks team just matches up at a faster pace that actually can rebound against this Bucks team. The Nets had such trouble on the interior. Obviously, the Hawks have Clint Capella. They have John Collins, a lot bigger guys that can match up well against Giannis. Giannis's speed and Brook Lopez's strength. They can spread the floor. I think the one thing that the Hawks are lacking right now is Bogdanovich's presence. Obviously he's playing a little bit hurt. And I think Herter is coming up and relieving the slack of that. But Bogdanovich, I saw in last night's game, he was shooting a lot of threes and missing a lot of shots. I think if he comes out healthy, this Hawks team might be a tough team to beat. I mean, they might even give the Bucks the work in 5 or 6 games.
Yeah. Um, no, I agree with you. I mean, they're playing really well right now. Obviously, they won in Milwaukee, which like to steal one of those road games is huge in any playoff series. So a
I
point
mean,
that
everybody's gonna say, obviously it's the first game. They're trying to get a hold of each other, but I mean, they didn't just like beat them by 1 point like the Suns beat the Clippers. It was, pretty handedly.
Yeah. So I have a take which I agree with. I can't take credit for. Uh, Shout out to my guy, my roommate Mark brought up a good point back when the Raptors won their NBA championship. You saw a lot of Drake on the sidelines, right? He's an icon in the music industry, overall superstar. He was doing a lot of chirping there on the sidelines. You get some players. I'd say probably 90% of the NBA looks up to this guy, idolizes him. He's a bigger superstar than most of the players. The Atlanta Hawks, obviously, they have a lot of kind of synonymous relation to the hip hop game down in Atlanta. You see Quavo, Gucci Mane has been notorious for being at a lot of the games. Two
Two
Chains,
chains.
yep. That was
I
kind of
actually was at
that's kind of
that was
crazy.
crazy. But I when I went to the Hawks game, I think it was a Hawks playoffs game against the Celtics or something like that. I
hmm
saw 2 Chains there. Like he's always there.
Yeah. So I was just gonna say, I feel like we're kind of getting that same effect in Atlanta as the Raptors had in Toronto with Drake, with a lot of their, superstardom support. You saw Quavo in the locker room. Was it after this last game?
No, it was
They beat the last.
after they beat the Sixers.
Okay. So, I mean, I feel like we talked about the influence from the Suns and Four guy for the Suns on the other side. I feel like there's a lot of kind of off the court influence and motivation coming from a lot of the fans that, a lot of these guys on the team look up to.
No, I mean, I can definitely see that. I think a lot of teams that are going for championships, obviously, when there's outside support, there's a effect of it moving on to the court, like a little motivation or a little bit of push into the right direction. I mean, you've seen it in New York, obviously, or I should say better yet, LA. I mean, Los Angeles Lakers always have stars on the court side, whether it's the Clippers or the Lakers. And I mean, you're always showing out for those people. Those are for basketball players, they feel like those are their peers, those are their extra, those people that are on their level. When you have the support of rappers, big name people, obviously it's going to translate on the court. You're playing with swag. I mean, Atlanta right now, you see Trey Young turning around, throwing alley oops from almost mid court to John Collins. You see him shimmying, like you said, hitting a three. You see them playing with the swag. There's a
hmm
difference in winning and then winning with swag. I mean, look at Showtime Lakers. They were coming out every night. They weren't just beating you; they were fooling you. Like Atlanta is doing that right now. Like they're coming out and they're showing the Bucks, who technically was everybody's number one seed because of Giannis. They already showed the one seed. Now they're going for the Bucks. I mean, if they beat the Bucks, I mean I feel like they deserve a trophy. Obviously, if they don't win the NBA championship, I feel like they deserve a trophy. That they were the 5 seed going up against the 4, right? They were the 5 seed going up against the 1. They beat the 1. Now they're the 5 seed going up against the 3. They're the ultimate underdogs, and Trey
hmm
Young plays into that the best. And when your best player like him plays into that the best, I mean you're only up for success. And I
No,
didn't
for
mean to
sure.
rhyme like that.
But hey, you'll take it, right? So I got just a question for you. What do the Bucks have to do to turn this series around and prove that they are the higher seed, they are the favorites, short of shipping PJ Tucker to Orlando? Um,
I mean, yeah.
one thing that I'm going to point out, Tyler, that we mentioned, in the previous series, Bobby Portis wasn't getting any minutes. He played 15 minutes last game, had a decent showing, 5 for 8 field goal, 1 for 2 from 3 point. He had 11 points. Um, my biggest takeaway, I mean, they just the Atlanta Hawks played like how I thought the Bucks should have played. They're a lot younger team, but they showed a lot more poise and composure in those final seconds. I mean, the Bucks, I think it was like what they were down 1 or 2. You got Pat Connaughton hucking up like a turnaround three that he ended up airballing. I mean, they're not getting their guys the ball. Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, obviously Giannis. I would have picked any of those guys. They were doing like a hack a Shack on Giannis. Obviously, he's not the best free throw shooter. He went 6 for 8 from the charity stripe last game. Like, where do they turn to in these crucial moments during the game?
I mean, I think the biggest player that needs to be turned to on the Bucks is Drew Holiday. Obviously, he has the toughest assignment with guarding Trey Young. I think it pretty much needs to be Drew. You need to focus yourself on defense. If you score 15 this game, that's great. We just need you to limit or shut down or try to shut down Trey Young. We need you to be more focused on the defensive end, rather than the offensive end. And then on the offensive end, they need to run the ball through Giannis. It's simple as that. Have your guy Chris Middleton on the outside, spread the court with Brook Lopez, with Drew Holiday, with PJ Tucker. I mean, I feel like they try to run almost like the Nets style offense where, oh, let's run the ball through one guy and hopefully we get a shot off. Now, you need to spread the floor with Giannis, have him drive and dish or drive and score. I mean, it really is that simple with the Bucks cuz Giannis is that good because he is a freak of nature.
I'm gonna bring up a controversial point right now. Is Giannis the most overrated player in NBA history? Like I mentioned before, two-time MVP. I mean, obviously he excels throughout the regular season. He puts up points. He can get to the basket pretty easily. But I mean, you just see him. He's out there. He doesn't shoot the ball well. I mean, he plays good defense. He's not really much of a facilitator. In my opinion, and I have no personal vendetta or any issue with Giannis. I like him. I wouldn't be upset if he won an NBA championship. But to me, I just look at this guy. He's had the guys around him. He has the team. I mean, this year probably more so than any. He has a stacked roster. He's in the NBA he's in the Eastern Conference Finals, and he's losing the first game to a 5 seed.
I wouldn't say he's the most overrated player ever. I don't even think he's that overrated. I mean, coming into the league, he was never a shooter. I think he's being exposed for it more because, teams are realizing it and they're letting him shoot. And he feels comfortable, like maybe he's getting a little bit better and he can make some of them. He did against the Nets. I'm sure he will against the Hawks, but I don't think he's overrated by no means. I think he's one of the best finishers in the league. He might even be one of the better finishers in NBA history just because of his length and pure athleticism. I just think a lot of it has to do with he makes a lot of bonehead plays. And what I mean by that is he has a lot of stupid fouls where he draws a lot of offensive charges by driving to the basket and trying to dish it. And, obviously the guy's waiting there to take the charge. Or when he's on defense last night against the Hawks, he poked Trae Young in the eye with his hand literally coming down. Like, just keep your hand up. Wouldn't have been a foul. He gets in foul trouble very often, which doesn't help his team. I just think honestly, if you paired Giannis needs a guy that is of his level or better for him to win a championship. I don't think he can be the number one guy and the only guy. I think Chris Middleton's great. Do I think he deserves to be on the Olympic team? Do I think he deserves to be, considered an all NBA third team player? Absolutely not. I don't think he makes that much of a difference. Now, if you add like Zach LaVine or Julius Randle or, a young guy that's hungry to win, who's athletic, I think it would only help Giannis even more. I mean, yeah, Drew Holiday's great. Yeah, Brook Lopez is great, but he doesn't have a guy that he could rely on.
So do you think that Milwaukee is obviously they have Giannis and some good players. They had a good season this year. Do you think that's enough of a sought after place to get that guy to go? Like, I don't know, Kawhi Leonard, or we're talking about like a Klay Thompson, Steph Curry. Like, to me, I don't see any of those guys ending up in a Milwaukee Bucks uniform. Like, I just don't see Milwaukee being that kind of desirable location for anyone to want to go team up with Giannis.
I mean, I hate to say this, but it's kind of like Green Bay. A lot of guys don't think Green Bay is sexy. Obviously, they're both in the same geographic location.
Excuse me, what?
But you don't see a lot of big name guys going to Green Bay, do you? Unless they were drafted by Green Bay or they were drafted by Milwaukee. I think a lot of the guys that are coming to Milwaukee are only going to be good if they get drafted by them. I think you're right. I don't think anybody's going to want to come to Milwaukee. It's not sexy enough. It's not, I don't know. I just feel like guys would rather go to LA. They would rather go to Miami. They would rather go to Chicago over Milwaukee. So I do agree with that point. I just think you got to put some respect on Giannis's name. He's a player that people should want to play with, and I think if he gets the right teammate, I think he could absolutely win an NBA championship.
So I'm trying to pull up the contract. So I believe he's signed. So he signed through 2026. So unless they dealt him, I mean, it looks like Giannis is going to stay put there.
And I don't
So
think Giannis is the type of guy that would want to move. I think he's a very
no.
loyal person.
So is he just going to concede? And from what we're saying, if they can't attract another big name player, they're just going to keep being the perennial playoff bust.
I mean that could very well happen. I mean, look at the 76ers. That's what they've left themselves up to. They signed a
Hey,
giant
trust the
contract.
process.
We've been
10
trusting the
years later,
process
it's
since we
just the process.
graduated from fucking high school. I can't trust the process anymore. That's like saying, hold Dogecoin and then it goes down to 17 cents and I almost have a heart attack and lose a fucking limb because I'm having a stroke. Um, I mean, that's just like Philadelphia. They made stupid gen, general managerial decisions is what I'm trying to say. Ben Simmons signed to a long contract. Why? What has he brought to the table? Joel Embiid should only be the player that gets signed to a long contract. Add players around Joel Embiid that makes sense. You want to sign 5 guys to big contracts or semi-big contracts after your big one. I mean, they could easily had so many other players with Ben Simmons, and I've talked about this. Same goes for the Bucks. They need to sign guys around Giannis. They already have their star player. Most teams aren't even lucky to have a guy like Giannis, and they have
Hmm.
him. They just need to add to it.
Yeah. All right. So we pretty much covered the NBA. Tyler, I did want to get your opinion on something.
Oh
Tomorrow,
yeah.
tomorrow night, big game 7. The
Oof.
hometown Tampa Bay Lightning versus
Oof.
the New York Islanders. How do you think your Lightning do?
I was very upset with how they finished in overtime last night in game 6. Absolute thriller. Roll my eyes in overtime, fucking slap shot off the 30-second marker in the over OT. Absolutely disgusting. They honestly shouldn't have lost that game. They were up 2-1, lost it. Game 7 though in Tampa. I'll be at Sparkman Wharf, which is a local Tampa area, watching the game on a big screen. Hopefully drinking some brewskis. Hopefully getting lit, riding down the river in my floaties to my house. But I think the Lightning take this. I think they're too good to lose against the Islanders. I think the Lightning can beat anybody in the NHL besides Colorado. And guess what, Austin? Colorado isn't in it anymore. So I think the Lightning win this game, go on to the Stanley Cup. Lightning in 6 in the Stanley Cup.
All right, you heard it here first. Live look: Canadians are up 2-1 against the Golden Knights in Game 6, and they also lead the series 3-2. Another live look for the NBA right now: Clippers are up 29-26. 10 minutes left in the second. Devin Booker, we saw him out there, Tyler. He's got the face mask. Are we gonna expect any kind of crazy performance? You saw LeBron, obviously Rip Hamilton is notorious for
Kobe.
wearing that face mask. Kobe's done it. Do you think that sparks any kind of special superpower abilities of any kind?
I mean, when I think of uh Mike, or is it Michael, or what's the guy that wears the mask?
Mike Myers.
Mike Myers. When I think of Mike Myers, what I think he looks like under the mask is exactly what Devin Booker looks like right now. Like just this pale skinned guy, like doesn't look good in a mask. I mean, Devin Booker looks like a deer in a headlights with his mask on. Obviously, he said before the game, as long
Spent
as
a
I can
lot of
see the
time here at the
basket,
free
that's all
throw
that
line.
matters. Obviously, I think when you're wearing the mask, it makes a difference because you're unique. You're the only player on the court wearing one. Um, I think he goes for 40 tonight. Honestly, he's
Oh,
coming for vengeance. Pat Beverly messed up his nose. Kendall Jenner, I think he got her on the phone the other night. Said, "Give me your best nose statistician. I need a nose job after the off season. Let's get it done. A rhinoplasty."
Oh wow, he's
But
throwing out some big terms here.
I think it's Suns in four, baby. That's what I've been saying. The Suns are gonna win this series in four, and tonight is no different.
I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to seeing a Suns versus Hawks NBA Finals. I feel
Suns
like
versus
that
Hawks
would
would
be
be lit.
my ideal. Like I said, I'm rooting for Booker. I'm rooting for CP3. Uh, Kevin Herter, hometown guy for us. Shout out to 518 doing his thing down in Atlanta.
Section two defense just makes a difference.
I tell you what, man.
All he needs to do is slap the floor and go ha, and then I mean, he's got it.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I mean, I think Suns versus Hawks. Obviously, we're talking too far ahead, but Suns versus Hawks. You have CP3, one of the greatest point guards of all time, versus Trey Young.
Well, are we though?
Obviously,
It might be concluded by our next episode.
it could be, but I mean, this might be a great prelude to it. Shout out Austin's first car.
Had the little 5 speed 97 prelude.
CP3, one of the greatest point guards of all time, with Trey Young, obviously my superstar point guard, only at 24 years old. Great matchup there. And then you got Devin Booker versus Kevin Herter, Bogdanovich, John Collins, Frank Capella, against
Clint
DeAndre
Capella.
Ayton, Clint Capella, Frank Capella. Who is Frank Capella? Did we
Frank.
go to school?
Wait, what?
I think we went to a school with a Frank Capella.
If I know what you're talking about, his last name did start with a C, but
I think it was Coppola. Either way,
uh,
that's neither here nor there. I just think
uh,
it's a fun matchup. I think a lot of points are being scored, a lot of fancy plays, dimes and dishes, and we ain't talking Guy Fieri's dinings, drive-ins, and dives. We're talking about dimes and dunks and dandies, baby.
oh, all right, I like that swishing and dishing lyrically, like Walt Clyde Frazier. All right, you got anything else to add?
Unfortunately, I can't say go Nets anymore. Um,
Go Bolts, maybe.
I mean, we could talk about this. I don't know if you saw. Obviously, everybody saw. Carl Nassib,
Yeah.
Las Vegas Raiders,
Yep.
first openly gay active player in the NFL community. Obviously, incredible story of a guy coming out while being active. It's never been done. Obviously, Michael Sam did it, but he got drafted and never played a single game in the regular season. This guy literally just signed a 3-year, $40 million deal with the Raiders. He's going to be active. His jersey the next day, the next 2 days, highest in Fanatics history. I mean, what's your take on this?
Yeah, no, good point. It's definitely something huge in the sports world that we should touch on. I mean, kudos to him for having the confidence to come out, you know, and I applaud obviously a lot of his teammates that rallied in support of him, players around the league. It's good to see guys of his orientation feeling more comfortable and being themselves. I feel like we've progressed a lot as a society as on that front. So yeah, no, happy for him. I'm glad that he can feel comfortable. I wish he was on a different team. Sorry he's got to just waste his time in Las Vegas, but
I mean, Las Vegas is notorious for good strip clubs. They have to have male strip clubs there that are notoriously good too.
oh hell
I
yeah,
mean, but I mean, Carl Nassib, that guy went to Penn State, one of my favorite colleges. I've always been a fan of him, even when he was with the Browns. Definitely great. And I think the thing I love most about it was I'm gay. It was
yeah.
just like simple as that, and we're done. Great.
Hey
NC.
guys, just wanted to say something. I'm gay. All right, I'll
I
talk
mean,
to you later.
honestly, the coolest thing was donating $100,000 to a charity. I mean, obviously, just getting paid for. When I watched the video, I'm like, Carl Nassib, can you afford $100,000 right now? I didn't think he just. And then I looked, and then I see his contract, 3 years, 40 million. I'm like, okay, this guy can do whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah, no, like I said, good for him. Glad he's feeling comfortable in his own skin right now.
I will
Um,
say there probably are a lot of ladies out there that are they took an L this weekend.
yeah, good looking dude.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So we had our input on that. We got the Thirsty Thursday stream coming up. Tyler, you're sticking around, right?
Yes, sir.
We're gonna be playing some Fortnite, having some
Grinding.
drinks, cranking 90s, Hopefully, we don't run into any Justins out there, but they got the UFOs going. It's crazy right now. We're gonna have some fun, so stay tuned for that.
Had
Um,
my first 10 kill game last night.
yes, he did. He was
I'm cracked
cracked,
right now.
cracked AF. All right, stay tuned for that. I'm gonna close this stream down, start up the Thirsty Thursday. I'm thinking Tyler will be back at the same time next week if it works
Sounds good.
for
I'll
both
be here.
parties. So, all right, stay tuned. We'll be right back.